Alrighty, folks. Well, good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live here from NGC Studios. And I am joined tonight for the Sunday edition by Dictator slash Fluffy Phil, who is one of the co-hosts of Versa Media. Real News, and I go on there a lot, but I've never had Phil on solo, so I'm happy to have him on. Real quick before we bring Phil on, though, contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SamW_NGC, Parler and Gab at Sam Whitfield, Facebook.com/Whitfield Report, thesamwhitfield.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts. And if you want to donate to the program, streamlabs.com/Whitfield Report and patreon.com/Whitfield Report. All links are in the description to support the show as well. And without further ado, Phil, how are you doing tonight?
Not bad, not bad. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. So, Phil, I think this is the first time you've been on the program solo, so I guess just how did you well, just tell us a little bit about your background. I know that you're military, so I mean, wherever you want to start, just feel free.
Well, I mean, like you said, I was in the military for a little bit, went right out of high school. And then once I got out of the military, I went to I moved back to Pennsylvania where I was from and went to Penn State. That's how I met Sean and Alex from Versa Media. And from there, it was just, the podcast kind of took on a life of its own, and then then I met you, and then we just kind of, it's just kind of grown. Like, this network has just kind of grown into itself,
You
which is kind of cool. Huh?
I should also point out that you met me through you actually met me through uh Jeff, the sociology
Yeah.
co-professor who used to be conservative until he came out of the closet, and he actually used to be the co-producer of this show, and then he flipped, and I know that we've been trying to get him to have a debate with you on this show, but he's busy or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, folks, Phil is one of the funniest people I I know in podcasting. So he's just a a pretty good guy. So Phil, what you we were talking last night about the election and kind of
Yeah.
what's going on. What do you make of all this? What's going on? You still think Trump has a pretty good chance of pulling this
I
out?
mean, pretty good. That's a stretch. I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance. He has, like, things have to go his way, like in the courts and stuff. But, like, as far as the election goes, this might be the worst fucking election ever, like, in American history. This is like, these are the kinds of elections that happen in third world countries. I never expected this kind of election to happen here. Um like the whole thing with the Dominion voting systems and the mail-in ballots, and it like it's just the worst, the absolute worst. Um, I yeah, I don't think that it's going to be an uphill climb, and it's getting more and more uphill every day for Trump. As just like, look, the establishment does not want him there. Um, and I don't think that I feel like Dominion, because Sidney Powell was saying that Dominion's a basically it was created by the Venezuelan communist regime to stay in power, and I'm like it's only fitting that it's here now, like making sure that the establishment stays in power for the most part, or like it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
I
I
I
but
f- I find it interesting too that like anytime someone brings up Dominion, at least on the smaller YouTube channels, I've noticed that like if you bring up Dominion, your videos almost always get like blocked or something, or hidden from the sub feed, which means that
oh, so this means I just fucked you over, didn't I?
I kind of fucked myself over too, but
Yeah.
it just and I mean I have a hard copy of this. I'm recording this too while we're
Mhm.
streaming, so it'll this will get out there no matter what. But it just it's interesting because we the incestuous relationship between big tech and the DNC is more apparent now than ever before. Like it's right in people's fucking it's right in people's fucking faces now.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can't not see at this point. So
Yeah. I this is the first time where, I mean, we've always kind of talked about it, like, it like conversationally. We're like, yeah, these elections are crooked, and we've always seen it in the media and all that stuff, like on certain ways that voter fraud has happened, but it's like this is but like you said, I feel like this is the one of the first times that it's this like blatant, like it's in everybody's faces. Like the left was like, "Yep, we're doing it. There's not a goddamn thing you can do about it." And whatever. You'll just have to sit there and take it.
well, and the other thing that you said last night on Verse, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. Maybe I misunderstood this, but you said you've served overseas, and I want to thank you for your service. For first
Thank you.
off,
Yeah,
but
thank
you've also said that you've seen shit like this in other countries before. Um, you've been in. Am I correct to assume that you've been in combat or
Yeah, yeah,
um?
I have.
So I mean I don't want to ask you too many nitty gritty details, but you've seen how third world dictatorships work, and it. One of the things that you've said over the past few weeks on Versa that has really struck me is, you're seeing it here now. So what does that mean? Uh, I guess in particular.
I mean, it means that we are facing a similar threat here, which is extremely sad. Like you obviously, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, they have they had these elections, but the elections were just a giant shit show. They weren't even really elections. It was like a very um it was fake. Like it was like a lot of them just gave, there was a couple of them that really kind of just were there for show. Like they already knew who was going to lead or whatever the position, but they just did it just to be, give the appearance like, oh, see, this is a democracy, but it's like that's bullshit. Um but no, it's happening here. Like look at the Dominion voting system stuff. Like all the stuff, all the complaints about Dominion voting system, it's like that shit is here. This is not a free and fair election. And I've said this before. If we don't have a free and fair election, we're not really a republic. I mean, fuck, we're not even a democracy. Which is scary. Like this is a scary time right now.
Oh yeah, it really is. I mean, I find the fact that so if you go on to Facebook or any of these social media platforms too, they were really pushing registering. They were really pushing like quote unquote registering to vote, like they've never done before. I mean, it's just you can post anything political now on any social media website. It's you automatically get like the AP has called the election for Joe Biden. You get all sorts of uh you know like messages instantly. um and didn't you get censored recently? Didn't you get temporarily banned from Twitter for posting something about the election?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I'm censored. I tweet a lot. I mean, I really do, and like every other day I'm getting, from friends. I'm like, I don't see any of your shit, man. Because it's like I post funny shit, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, and nobody sees it. And so it's like he's like, well, I gotta check your account like once a week, and it's like hilarious shit, but like I don't see it. And they follow my stuff. They, and they're like, oh, well, like I started doing little Periscope tidbits recently, and like nobody fucking even like my friends didn't even know that I even did it. Like, and I tweeted about it, and I pushed it, but it's like they're burying my shit. They really are. Um,
Oh, they're bearing they're bearing my shit on Twitter too. The only platform that I'm really not shadow banned on at this point is Instagram, and I don't post anything political over there. With the exception of maybe like you know the occasional meme or something, but even then, it's not really political as much.
yeah, I mean well, I haven't been on Instagram as much. The last time, I mean, like that, the 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 Charlie Kirk comment was the last comment I made on it on Instagram. Like, and I haven't even nobody's really commented on that shit either. Which um, I basically said, I was like, because you see his girlfriend, I guess Charlie Kirk's girlfriend, if you want to call him that. Um, like they had these weird proposal pictures. They looked like awkward as fuck. But anyway, I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. This is so wonderful. Charlie Kirk is actually straight. This whole time I thought he was some closeted homosexual, but this totally convinced me. And um and like I don't know. Like my friends are like, no, we didn't see it. This is fucking hilarious. We didn't see it, and like, and I think they're censoring me on fucking Facebook, like on Instagram too, man. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, it's not surprising at all either that they're doing that.
I can't advertise anymore either on Facebook. I can't pay to advertise on Facebook. Like we had on Versa a long time a year or two back, we had Milo Yiannopoulos. Like we interviewed Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
And so I decided to advertise the interview, and they banned my ability to advertise after I did that.
Did they still take your money though? Because I've heard of that.
They took a chunk of they gave me a partial refund.
Oh, only
What they did because they spread it out. They realized that oh shit, we actually spread it out, and so they kicked they kicked me off the advertising platform, and then they gave me like a partial refund.
you should have complained that they were like discriminating against a veteran
I
or something.
dropped a shit ton of messages. I was trying like hell to get back on, and I never got a response back. Never.
Yeah,
I didn't even get one of those bullshit. Oh, thank you for your concern. We appreciate your business. We appreciate your concern here at Facebook or whatever. I didn't even get one of those fucking messages. They just like they vanished me off the fucking earth.
yeah, that happens. I remember like 2 or 3 years ago when Black Lives Matter first started. Um, I so in on like one of the main Black Lives Matter Facebook posts, on one of their main like Facebook pages, there was a photo of or no, not a photo, but there was a painting of like a like a militant, activist or whatever, basically like slitting a cop's throat, ISIS style. I mean, it looks like the James Foley ISIS execution, basically. And as you know, as you probably know, uh, you know, depictions of violence is against, Facebook's policy supposedly. So I basically like reported the image as violating Facebook's policy, and then I shared on my page that I reported them for violating Facebook's policy. As it turns out, I got fucking banned for like close to 60 days for hate speech, suppose
Hmm.
sup- supposedly, because I dared to. Then they didn't give any specific reason, but I guess speaking out against. I guess it's okay when Black Lives Matter posts, violent, uh, imagery, but God forbid someone reports it, and
Yeah.
so
I
it's
did get I did get banned off of Twitter for 12 hours for calling The Rock a Hollywood whore. That did happen. Um and that was like right after he endorsed Joe Biden. Like I was like, dude, this dude is just spreading his ass cheeks for the fucking for the Chinese and for the Democrat Party. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Well, that happened recently, right?
Yep. That did happen recently.
So so Phil made the big bad rock fucking cry. So
Sure.
I guess he's not as tough as he looks. So
Yeah, he's got like, is it me or does he have like tits now? It looks like he has tits. Like it just
The
like it's like unnaturally weird. Like he's doing these weird videos and these weird video conversations with Joe Biden, and it just looks like, like at least wear a bra when you put that, when you talk like that, dude. You just have them all hanging out or whatever.
he well, to me he doesn't. I mean, I haven't really noticed that he has tits, but the one thing I have noticed is that he looks more plastic than fucking GI Joe at the at this point. Like, you know, I get that he's a wrestler and they all have steroids, but but I mean, fuck, he looks faker than most of those other fake, you know. I mean, he looks like a man doll basically at this point. It's fucking ridiculous.
Like he said, he has all the signs and symptoms of steroid use too. Like his head's gotten bigger. He's fucking like he's got veins coming out of his skull, and like it's just like I'm like, oh holy shit, dude. I'm scared. I'm scared he's gonna do a Chris Benoit or some shit like that.
Well, no. Owen Benjamin is gonna Chris Benoit himself first, but you know, I suppose The Rock might go down that road. I know that The Rock is at odds with Matthew McConaughey though, right now too. Did you hear about that?
Well, I know Matthew McConaughey said something about he took a shot at some Hollywood hypocrites.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I guess some of them like fired back at him and was like, "Oh, how dare you? You're Matthew McConaughey. You're supposed to be cool. You're supposed to be, one of us." And it's like, "Well, hey, Matthew McConaughey is fucking cool. He doesn't need your, you know, he doesn't need to be in your in crowd." So,
mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like I like Matthew McConaughey. I like the my favorite movie of his. Uh, like my favorite role of his was Wolf of Wall Street.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. I love the cameo appearance
I
he had in the beginning of the movie.
I love him in Wolf of Wall Street. I love him in A Lincoln Lawyer.
Mm.
Even though the guy who wrote The Lincoln Lawyer is a flaming lib, but that's here nor there. But my favorite role of his is the first season of True Detective.
Yeah, that was a really good show.
That
I was pissed when they made that season two. I'm like, God,
oh
this is awful.
oh God, season two is awful, and that's it, and that's coming from someone who actually loves Vince Vaughn too. But
Yeah.
yeah, season two was god awful.
Well, they
Um,
put they it was an immediate as soon as I heard that Taylor Klitsch uh was in it, I was like, nope, this thing's fucking ruined. Right? You're
well,
gonna put him in one of the main characters. Like, no, it's fucking ruined.
well,
That's awful.
as soon as I heard that they were changing the format, like of the show too, I knew that it was I knew that it was fucked because they had like a really good story structure going, and they and true to in the first season, and they didn't need to change it at all. Kind of like the documentary narrative that they were doing was perfect. I wish they would bring Harrelson and McConaughey back for like season four or something, but they're not going to. So, um,
Well,
but
no, yeah, Woody Harrelson. Like Woody Harrelson's getting that age too, where you're not like it's start. He's getting to that the kind kind of old that it just becomes unnatural to put him in some of those roles ever again. Like he's getting in that like ballpark.
I mean, yeah, but he's still great, and he was still great in Zombieland too, in the Zombieland movies. So
Yeah, but I mean, he's I don't know. He was already aged like with Zombieland. He was already fucking aging anyway. But like, it's tough. It's tough seeing him like get older and then try to play these characters that are still kind of sort of supposed to be young-ish. I don't know.
yeah, although he's seen Alexander Daddario's tits,
I
and
mean, we all have. They're pretty
yeah,
nice, but anyway.
so but I mean he's actually seen them in real life, so that's something that I can't claim. So props to him for that at least. Um, Speaking of Hollywood weirdos, though, I know you've had a fucking field day with this. The whole Elliot Page.
Oh my god, I can't fucking stand that shit. My God, man, you fucking open up a can of worms there. And no, it's not Elliot Page, it's Ellen Page. Man, I'm refusing to call that crazy broad Elliot Page. That's not happening.
But Phil, it's 2020, it's 2020, and you're sup- you're supposed to be progressive
I
now.
should. Okay, so with under normal circumstances, you're right, and with this one, it's like I'm sorry, like Ellen. I was watching one of her interviews on late night, because she was like, I think she was bashing, like it was right after some protest or something like that, and she was trying to be like, she was trying to do some Trump bashing or whatever, but you could tell like she's either she's either mentally unstable, on drugs, or both.
I'd say both. I mean, even when she was a chick, though, that broad has always been crazy. Like even when she first broke out with the role of, I don't know. I think Juno was her big like breakout role, if I remember correctly. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
even then, as like a teen actor or whatever, she was always, I don't know. She always kind of seemed off to me a bit. So, like, let me put it this way. I actually was not surprised when she did the whole "I'm a man" thing, because she's done weird shit like that before, where like she came out as like a lesbian, and and then obviously I'm like, well, of course she's going to do the trans thing now, because it's trendy. So
But that's another thing too, like because she started the whole acting thing like really young, like really really young, because she was actually she was on the Trailer Park Boys, which was like one of my favorite shows growing up.
oh
But
yeah,
like, yeah, but that I want to say, is that what that might have been where she started, or she
I
something along those lines.
I forgot I forgot that she was in Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah. So they end up like those young child actors usually end up super fucked up, like super fucked up in the head.
Yeah,
Uh
we'll look at Corey Feldman for
oh yeah. Well shit, look at Britney Spears. She's still batshit crazy. Like she fucking,
yeah,
I don't
but
know what the fuck is going
yeah,
on.
but at least there was a period of time where she was hot. So
I mean, I mean that but she but like there are, I mean there are hot women that aren't crazy, but they give into the stereotype that hot women are crazy. Like there's that stereotype, oh, all hot women are crazy. And like and obviously we know that's not true, but like you could like they give in to that stereotype. Like they're crazy and you know.
Believe me, believe me, I know. So we have some crazy ladies in this chat, even on occasion. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. Also though, I mean, this whole thing is weird is weird too because I guess now Christy Alley came out as like a QAnon conservative recently, and so did Jenna Jameson actually. Jenna
Mhm.
Jameson, I guess I didn't know this, but apparently she's
Well,
not. Apparently
well,
she's
Jenna
now.
Jameson, she's fucked in the head too. Like she's had a lot of stuff
Oh
going on
yeah,
up in that knockers.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
yeah. She jumped on the QAnon LARP though, so which is you know, I mean, I don't want to bring up QAnon because I'm afraid the fucking QAnon people will start to show up in the chat like they usually do. But it's crazy.
it's fucking real, man. Swear to God, it's fucking real. You gotta believe me, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, at least Alex Jones does his shit for entertainment. Like, there's a lot. I mean, you know, he does a lot of good, but like, dude, at least there's an element of entertainment there. Like these some of these Q weirdos are just like, I mean, it's like you better be ready, man. You better be ready.
I've
Serious.
I've been told that I am Q and that I don't even realize it. They've tried to do the whole Neo thing of like you're the one, Sam, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I would know if you know, if there was something like that. So
But and I have to say, Saturday Night Live is just fucking terrible. I have to say that. I know that came off as kind of random, but like, God, that Saturday Night Live is just fucking awful.
well,
Like,
no, that's actually a perfect segue. Actually, I mean, it used to be good, but it's terrible now.
they began. I think they began this last show with they were trying to poke fun at the Michigan witness that was a Dominion voting employee, and like like they try to jab her for being like drunk or whatever, and it was just it wasn't funny. I mean, there was there's ways to make it funny. Like you had an opportunity to make it funny, like go into like drunk crazy Michigan girl type fucking like there's shit to be had, but like they totally fucked it up, and which they often do. I feel like with Saturday Night Live, it's like they're trying to be funny, but they're trying to be politically correct too. Like that's like they're trying to like do that balance, and it's like people just want to laugh. Like who gives a shit if it's politically correct or not? Like
In my opinion, political correctness in comedy is the worst fucking thing to. I mean, the two cannot coexist. Like you can do clean comedy like Jerry Seinfeld, right? But that's not the same thing as PC comedy.
Yeah, but look, he had some edgy stuff. He had some edgy stuff too. It was clean, but he did have some edgy stuff that kind of pushed some boundaries too.
Well,
It was
yeah.
just but he was funny. But the difference was Jerry Seinfeld was fucking funny. Like these people that are on Saturday Night Live, they're not funny. They're just not funny. I mean, you could tell that like you used to have back in the day, Saturday Night Live, they had people on that were media comedy stars. Like they were the funniest people in the room. Like now it's like they're inviting guests on just for a comedy hit because like they don't have any talent of their own.
Well, I mean, I think you probably know this, but I mean, Dennis Miller, who is, probably my biggest influence for, podcasting next to Rush Limbaugh. I mean, all my comedy chops are from, Dennis, and I mean, he basically made Weekend Update what it was, back in its heyday, and he would poke, fun at both sides back in the back in the 80s and 90s when he was on there, and then
Weekend Update is the biggest example of that. Like it used to be so funny, and it wasn't back in those days. It wasn't just Dennis Miller. Chevy Chase did it, and it was funny. Norm Macdonald did it, and it was funny.
yeah,
Like a whole bunch of the people did it. It was funny. And then when Seth Meyers took over, it just was completely ruined.
and
Seth Meyers couldn't make a fucking joke. They had who the fuck was the female that was just absolutely fucking terrible.
Amy Poehler, yeah, I couldn't.
Um, yeah, the other one. There was another one too. There was the brunette with the glasses.
Oh, Tina Fey, yeah.
Yeah, she's unfunny as fuck too. And then yeah, I think there was Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's just not fucking funny at all. And then yeah, and then we have what we have now. Michael Che is kind of funny, but man, Colin Jost, holy fuck, Colin Jost isn't funny either.
Yeah, well, and now they have on what's his face? Oh,
But
fucking.
so okay, so in my free time, I like to gamble. Okay, I like to go to casinos. I like to play sports book and all that shit, right? Um, so I go to casinos, and Colin Jost, the dude that does the Weekend Update now, he was where he was doing stand up, like he was slated to do stand up at one of the casinos, and they were trying to give away tickets to see Colin Jost, and I like that's how unfunny this fucker is. Like you couldn't even give away that shit show.
Really?
Yeah, like literally, they're like, "Oh, we'll give we'll give you backstage passes so you can meet him." I'm like, "Fuck no, I don't want to meet that piece of shit. Hell no." What the fuck could I possibly? Why would I possibly want to meet this asshole?
That's the thing. None of these. I mean, hell, I don't even know who the current cast is. Now of SNL. Granted, I don't have cable anymore, but like I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea who is in the current lineup anymore. I haven't watched. I think maybe I've watched SNL twice in the last 5 years, and we're talking like an entire show. I've seen clips of SNL throughout the years, but I haven't watched a full show
Like,
since I was in high
and
school.
they have their identity boxes checked too. Like I think Kate McKinnon is gay or something, but like and they think that like, oh, if you bash her, like, because she's unfunny too, but like if you bash her, like, oh, you must be homophobic because you bashed Kate McKinnon. Like, no, I don't care. Like, you're not funny. Okay, you're not funny. I don't give a shit if I'm, you know, banned or fucking whatever.
Yeah, Kate.
It's like, no, she was she was funny when she did the Justin Bieber impersonation. Like, no, I don't. That wasn't funny. Like, nothing she does is fucking funny.
The only funny female comedian I can think of, honestly, is Julia Louise Dreyfus.
Yeah, but she's like she ran out of humor years ago too. Like she was funny in Veep, I guess.
Yeah, I
Sometime.
mean, Veep's actually pretty good, so.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes. It's hit or miss. Some episodes are horrible, some are kind of funny. But like I, I don't know. Yeah, I mean she died like and that
just,
was another thing. Like Amy Schumer, oh my
oh
god.
God.
Is there probably is not a more unfunny person in the comedy world than Amy Schumer.
Well, as Nick DiPaolo likes to point out, and I know you're an Anthony Cumia fan, so I'm assuming
Oh
you
yeah.
know, I'm assuming you know who Nick DiPaolo is.
Mm-hmm.
But as Nick DiPaolo pointed out a few years ago, you know, how many dicks did Amy have to suck to get a career in comedy? You know?
Yeah. Well, no, her, the you know she's related to Chuck Schumer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's her. That was her aunt. That's basically her aunt.
Well, Chuck Schumer isn't fucking funny either, so.
Well, he is funny, just in the wrong way.
She's funny in the wrong way too.
Chuck
So,
Chuck Schumer's funny in that he looks like a corpse, like he died in the fucking 80s. Like, and he's
uh,
like Joe Biden, like somebody fucking like a Weekend at Bernie's type shit. Somebody's holding him up from the back.
yeah, that's the whole thing though, right? Is like, you know, like kind of circling back to Biden, like like I get that there's Trump derangement syndrome out there, but honestly, who the fuck legit thinks that, you know, like Biden? Are you serious?
Mm,
Like
yeah, I mean, look, hey,
like there was
who better who better than to fight the big mean Trump, the big mean Hitler Trump, than the more of the fucking old white establishment? Like, yeah, yeah. Wait, you sure got that guy, Orange Man, bad. Yeah. Mm. But yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, and I'm always like, I'm okay with Trump jokes. Like if I'm okay with Trump jokes as long as they're
yeah,
funny.
I'm
Like that, it has to be funny. Like if you create if you make Trump jokes just to fucking make them, like like I don't know, kill yourself. I don't know. Like it's just so like you can't make like I know late night TV does it nonstop. It's just nonstop Trump jokes, and none of them are fucking funny. Like at least Steven Crowder, he does them every now and again, and they're actually pretty funny, right? And he tries to tackle mannerisms, and he's it's funny, but like
yeah,
you know,
and Crowder's not even that funny as far as conservative comedians
yeah, but
go.
that's what I'm saying. He's not that funny, but he's fucking hilarious compared to the late night TV hosts. Like it's that bad. Like they're that bad.
Well, I mean, and the people, the actual comedians who are funny in Hollywood are all fucking banned right right now. Pretty much like, you know, I get shit from people for saying this, but Like I am an unapologetic Louis C.K. fan.
Oh yeah.
And I mean,
Oh yeah.
look, I get that Louis is a liberal. I know that, and you know, I get that what he did was, weird. Although it's not, what he did was weird. It's not criminal, but like he's an objective. He and I disagree on pretty much everything politically, and yet, the dude is a funny, you know,
Yeah.
the dude is a funny motherfucker just because, especially now that he's been canceled, he just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
He doesn't he's not stupid either. Like he's not I mean, okay, so the whole beating off in front of women, like asking him if he could beat off in front of them, that's a weird proclivity, but
Well,
like for his stand up though, he's not like he's funny and he's not overbearing about it. Like he's not like he does have his views, like he said, "Oh, Trump's Hitler" or whatever, but like he doesn't push it on his stand up. Like he doesn't hate conservatives. Like
well,
he's friends with Anthony Cumia for like years. Like it's not like
well, in
there's I don't know.
well in his stand-up set that got leaked about a year ago or whatever. Remember there was that set that got leaked. He totally made fun of millennials and their fucking, safe spaces.
Yeah.
And the fact, like, he made the joke that, like, if there was a fucking school shooting, some of these assholes would be pushing, would be like pushing the fat kids out of the way, in order to, like, save
Save
themselves
themselves. Yeah.
selves. Just like brutal joke. And I mean, he totally has leaned into the fact that he's like a degenerate too now. He's like, so how were your last 2 years? Did any of you guys get in global amounts of trouble? Which is what you got to do. If you get into trouble, just fucking lean into it. So
It's like if you have to go into politics, like if you have to choose your political side in your comedy bits, like you're not funny and you should probably not be a comedian because like yeah, and it's just stupid too. Like being an entertain, like it's just stupid too because you're alienating half the fucking country. It never makes sense. Like unless I mean if you're lucky enough to go big corporate, I mean then that I guess that's one thing, but like uh,
Apex Game in the chat says SNL. It says Mad TV is better than SNL. Yes, I fucking
it
as
was
as
it
as
was
as someone who grew up with Mad TV, I completely fucking
I
agree.
liked Mad TV. I did. I liked Mad TV.
I used to subscribe to Mad Magazine too back when Mad was still around. So
But I mean, look, I mean, Saturday Night Live was good. I mean, it was good back in those days. I mean, that was a lot of that was back in the heyday. You had, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, David Spade, Tim Meadows, even then, like Will Ferrell, freaking, like you just had a lot of really good talent on there. Now it's just I don't know what the fuck is going on with that show now.
I mean, it's part of NBC, which has completely, like, sold out. It.
Well, I mean, it's you've run like you're tiptoeing. I mean, and there's a lot of it because it's on NBC, so you have to ride that like social justice, political correct line, I guess. And I mean, it's awful. I mean, it's awful. It's just garbage. But Whatever.
Have you thought about doing like stand-up comedy or anything like that?
I I I have I just like I don't know. I feel like there's enough stand-up comedians out there and there's a lot of good ones. Like there's a lot of good ones out there. Um that like I don't want I'm always like, oh, what the world needs now is another fucking stand-up comedian, or just like what the world needs now is another fucking lawyer or some shit. Like um but I mean, I like doing that. I like doing this. I like making people laugh on the
You're
podcasts, and
yeah, you're great on the you're great on the podcast. So
yeah. And I mean, I'm like, and I do periscopes, and I understand that, like, okay, I started, and this tells you how technologically unfucking savvy I am. Like, I just started doing the periscopes like 2 weeks ago, and I asked Sean how, like, what does Cernovich do? What does Cernovich use on his Twitter page? And then he's like, "Yo, he uses Periscope." I'm like, "Oh shit, I should start using that." And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And yeah. So it took me a couple tries, and I probably made an ass out of myself in those tries. But I
Paris
think I figured it out.
Periscope, I used to do it, but the problem is Periscope always drains the fucking battery on my phone
Oh yeah,
like
I did notice that too.
like that. So, and my phone's not even that old. So I mean I'm on you usually what I do is I actually simulcast this stream to Periscope and to YouTube Periscope and D Live.
Yeah,
So I
I
mean
like. I felt like we needed. I felt like I needed a shorter version of what we do, because some of those weekend shows, they turn into like 3 or 4 hours. That's a lot of time on a microphone. Some people just check out in like 30 minutes or whatever. I'm like, look, let me just we do some quick spots, and I was talking to Sean about it, and you know and I like having him on. I'll have other people on too, but I want to make sure that, like, you get like quick stuff. Like, if because there's always stuff going on throughout the day, and I want to be able to, like, go, oh, let me hit that up. Because I don't know if you ever have that, like, where you do a show, and then there's something that you should have said on the show, and you forget about it, and
oh
and
yeah.
as soon as you get to, you're like, man, damn, I should have hit that one up. Like,
Well
I'm sure that's kind of why I did the Periscope. I wanted to make sure that whatever, if I was thinking of something at the time, I wanted to make sure I at least kind of got it,
that's why I tend to do half-hour audio podcasts during the week usually. Now I can't right now because at least for another week because I'm still in fucking finals, unfortunately, in school. But um, like I'm definitely putting out more like I wouldn't say daily content, but I'm certainly trying to up my game as well. I mean the problem though is too is like you know like I don't have and I'm not complaining. I don't nearly have the deep pockets that Charlie Kirk does, or or like Turning Point does. If look if we had the money that Turning Point gets, or whatever from their donors, we could build like a fucking great
I
podcast
mean,
network or
he
something.
sucks off a lot of people at the RNC. So I mean, that, like, it's like there's a lot of people, like, with a lot of that, you just you kind it's an establishment. You got to know the right people. Like, look at the Daily Wire. Like, yeah, like with Ben Shapiro, you have like, and I hate when he talks about social issues. Like that part fucking really grinds my fucking gears, because like this is somebody who grew up in a well-off family. I think one of his cousins was Matilda, uh, um, was like a child actor, was on Miss Doubtfire or whatever. Mara Wilson, I think her name is. Anyway,
Yeah.
so like grew up in a kind of a well-off family, went to a well-off school, went to UCLA, then went to Harvard, then then
At fucking 17.
yeah, and then got huge financial backing from the Wilkes family to start up the Daily Wire. Like, I mean,
Well, hold up though. But before that, so Phil, you know my claim to fame is I originally interviewed Ben before he got
yeah,
like super.
I'd say that.
So so when he went when he worked for Andrew Breitbart,
Yeah,
one of Andrew's favorite things to do to Ben, I guess, and Ben even admitted this to me, was like Ben would make fart jokes, or no, Andrew would make fart jokes to Ben,
yeah,
and then also like send him like Playboy pictorials in his email just to see how
yeah, yeah.
Ben would react to that. Um but
Yeah,
yeah.
because he was because he seems very socially awkward even now. Like, I'm like, dude, if he was in school, he's probably the dude that got picked on or whatever. But like,
Well, if he went to Harvard or whatever, they're all kind of yuppies there. So,
yeah, yeah.
and that I
But
mean, and that's why I never made it far in politics other than like, podcasting. Like,
Andrew Breitbart was such a fucking legend. Like, he was such a legend. Like, and we were talking about this on the show. Like, what some of the stuff that he used to do in journalism
oh
is
yeah.
still being effectively used today, and it's still effective. And I say that like with the some of the stuff that Rudy Giuliani and Miss Ellis use to they release like little for their lawsuits and stuff like that, and they're releasing their evidence of like voter fraud or whatever. They release a little bit of information, and then they wait until the opposition reacts, and they commit to a reaction, and then they release more information to embarrass them. Like, they give enough information to bait them into making a bad decision, and then they pounce. It's just like just genius stuff. Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about Breitbart that I always liked the most about, Andrew, was he was the type of guy who you could go out there and like have like he obviously had his beliefs and he had his values, right? Like, he's very conservative, obviously, but he was also the type where like he could sit down with, like a liberal, not a leftist, but a liberal, and like have a conversation with them and actually, like be able to change their mind kind of, um, you know, with just having a conversation with them.
mhm.
So, and that's
Well,
an
he was incredibly socially gifted. Like, he was just a socially gifted person, and um, I felt like I felt like that he would he would try to interact with it. Like, he would try to interact with you, and because he was so socially gifted, he tried to get a feel for you, to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and he'd try to build on it. Like, because he did that with, he did that with Milo, he did that with Ben Shapiro, he did that with a lot, like, even with like Greg Gutfeld, like there was a lot of that interaction that he kind of just.
I I will tell you that when I talk that the Ben Shapiro that I met and I talked to was way different than the Ben Shapiro we have now.
Mhm.
Like Ben was not as I think Ben was kind of aristocratic starting out, and then when he went to work for Breitbart, he kind of chilled out a bit. But then once he got funding for the Daily Wire, he kind of went back to his aristocratic ways, if that makes sense. Um, so that's my take on Ben, basically. But
Yeah.
I think if Andrew would have stayed alive, the conservative movement would be way different in a better way, for sure. So
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, uh there's not, I mean, there really isn't much, like, and I know Steve Bannon, like, people give Steve Bannon shit, but like I felt like he wasn't really like that wasn't a role that was meant for him. Like, it's not Steve Bannon isn't smart. He's smart, he's, very counterintuitive, but it's not, that was not that being in charge of Breitbart was not for him. Like, it's just certain people just aren't meant to do certain shit. And then, like, that was not for him. Um, and
Oh,
that's okay.
well, I think he originally started out as like just an investor with Breitbart, and then I mean the thing of it was Andrew's death was so sudden that
Yeah.
that no one really knew what to
It left a
do.
hole. It left a hole. Yeah. I mean, like, he left it. I mean, he left uh an obvious legacy, but like, he was still a part of this thing that left a huge hole. And that's kind of what happens. That's kind of what happens when you're in it. Like, certain people die, but they die like after they've retired or something like that. Like, he was still in it. Like, he was still kind of in it.
Well,
And
he was only 47 when he was only 47 years old when he died. I mean,
right.
he was not, he wasn't even like really middle aged at that point. You know, like he was still a young guy. So and I mean I know some people in the chat say that he was assassinated, and I don't subscribe to that theory only because I've talked to people who knew Andrew Breitbart, and apparently he was adopted, and because he was adopted, no one knew his genetics, and apparently he had like a genetic heart condition. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, and like, when you commit, look, but I mean, of course, when you commit to something like that, like, and you worked as hard as he did, and you, like, yeah, that takes its toll on your health too. I mean, I
yeah,
mean,
oh yeah, oh yeah. That's partially why why I took a breather from you know why I took like a brief hiatus from all this
yeah,
too was you know you don't want to go crazy from all of this, so
oh yeah. I mean, we're all going crazy. I mean, there's no saving us, really. I mean, if we're gonna be honest. Like,
well
no, I mean, we're all crazy. Like, we're all there. You can't just do what we do and work with and do all the research and all that shit without being a little bit, like, a little bit out there. But
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Because I mean, I could feel myself like doing all this work and doing all this research work for like, um like I was researching some of the Dominion voting system stuff and with the UBS security and looking it up on on the SEC forms and stuff like that, and I can just feel people pulling away from me
I
like oh my god, he's going weird. I'm like no, I like this is legit shit we're talking here. I could feel people like thinking that I'm like weird, like I'm like the tinfoil hat guy now or something.
well, look, I mean, I went. I'll admit, I kind of went crazy. I kind of went crazy a while ago. I mean, with the whole thing of you know, with the whole thing of Obama winning a second term in 2012, and then all of that, and then like Hillary running in 2016. Like, thank God she fucking lost.
Yeah.
Thank God. Like,
Um.
even though Trump won this, even though Trump lost this election, I'm still so fucking grateful that he won back in 2016, and that
Oh yeah.
Hillary is fucking
Me too.
gone.
I do worry that uh shit's gonna get crazy one way or another. I feel like
Oh yeah.
whether Biden actually takes the helm on January 20th or like the Supreme Court rules, hey, all this shit was unconstitutional, and then it has to go to the House of Representatives or something like that, and then somehow Trump stays in office or something like that. If that happens, shit's getting crazy. If Biden takes over, this shit's getting crazy. It's just
Oh yeah.
like we're.
That's inevitable for sure.
I hope that there's um. I hope there's, I don't want to say closure, but like there's some sort of um like there's answers, like I just hope that there's some sort of answer to whatever happens, whatever crazy comes out of it.
Well,
That's what I'm hoping for. Like
so are you like, are you reserve, like current military? Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm retired.
I I have to ask because um so like I keep getting all these like, fears that like the fucking military is gonna like stage a coup or do fucking, something. And I mean, I'm, you know, look, I'm not military. The closest to military I've come to was playing, Call of Duty, you know, growing up. But I mean, as someone who's been on the front lines, what do you see coming down the pike? Like, do you think that things are actually going to pop off, or um,
What do you mean? Like what in what way do you think?
do you
Like
think do you think there's going to be an actual like civil war with like, you know?
I think within the next 20 years, if things keep going the way that they're going right now, we're either going to have a civil war or we're going to have a great purge. One of those two things is going to happen.
Yep. Well,
And I will say and I'll say this and I'll add to that too. If if a civil war happens, the casualties will outnumber the last civil war. And if the Great Purge happens here, the casualties will outnumber the Russian Great Purge. That is my prediction.
oh boy, it's going to be fucking fun to live around here for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that I'm still optimistic that reality will figure itself out. Like I feel like uh, we need to grab like I'm hopeful that reality we come together and somehow come up with some sort of way to kind of keep this thing going. But I mean, but yeah, if we keep going in the direction that socially that we have been going in, yeah, those are the only two options.
Well, I mean, all I can say is, at this point, I mean, it's it's really fucking weird when I as a legit cripple am tougher, and have more sense than these, able-bodied, fat social justice warrior, you know, people, and yet they wanna fucking assault me and like do like serious physical body harm to me because they're so fucking tolerant and so progressive that they want to beat up a cripple who disagrees with them. So
I feel I feel like though, I feel like there's a plan coming for Trump with 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 Trump. Like because Trump has been saying stuff about voter fraud for fucking years.
oh yeah.
I remember. I think he's tweeted about it at least since 2012, probably even earlier than that. But yeah, definitely 2012, and um, so it would be impossible for me to not think that he doesn't have a plan. Like there's some sort of plan like that, and that he didn't see this coming. Like he, in some ways, he had to have seen this whole event coming. Like there was going to be some sort of establishment backlash, like with this election, because he wasn't supposed to win in 2016. There was no fucking
I know
way he was supposed to win in 2016, but he did, and the establishment lost its shit.
it was so fucking glorious to. I mean, even now, like, I'll admit, I still watch the 2016 election night
Yeah.
reactions.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not to be crass, but it gives me a fucking boner at times to
Mhm.
you know to just see the sheer pain of the left as they.
Seeing Yeah, seeing Rachel Maddow welled up in tears was just so glorious. It was just so glorious.
I mean,
Um,
the fucking meme of the he she screaming no on inaug on inauguration day. That is still, you know I mean, that is one of the greatest things to have ever come out of the election and the fucking internet, you know period. So
I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna hang on to hope though. Like I'm gonna hang on to hope until the
yeah, me
last
me
day.
too.
Just because I just, that part of me is just um, like Trump is this eccentric, unpredictable disruptor, right? He's been doing it for the last 4 years, and I feel like he sure shit's not going to stop in these last 2 weeks. In fact, I think he might have a grand finale. If anything, he probably has a grand finale for these fuckers. But
Well, and the other thing too is I love this notion that they fucking have that, like, Trump is somehow, once he leaves office. I love this notion they have that he's just going to, go away.
Mhm.
They think he's going to disappear, you know, and just ride off into the sunset like George Bush did and like Bill Clinton did and like Romney did. But I mean, no, he's Donald fucking Trump. He's been in your face for the last 40 years. What makes you think he's going to disappear from the public space? If
And
anything,
most of the time he's been like 2 steps ahead of everybody else. So like I look at the mannerisms and the behaviors of Donald Trump over the last like 4 years, and I'm thinking like this guy has a plan. There's no way he doesn't have a plan. Like I just don't it's now it does it freaks me out because we're running out of runway here, as Steve Bannon likes to say. Um but I still believe that he definitely has this plan, and it's like he might get he might get a couple people. I mean, it would like and nothing and like and I hear a lot of scenarios, and I hear a lot of weirdos. I hear a lot of weird scenarios like, oh, he's gonna declare martial law and do the invoke the Insurrection Act, and he's gonna start putting people through military tribunals, and he's just seize all the fucking social media companies and all that stuff. And I think that's a stretch, but like
yeah.
I I can't rule it out because it is Donald Trump. So
Well, and so that actually kind of feeds into a question that like that one of the users 3 olives has in the chat, which is what do you think about the prospect of the military giving out the COVID vaccine? Which I feel like we've talked about that before on Versa. Maybe I don't remember, but um, do you think that's gonna happen? Like, or like I guess
it's interesting because all of this stuff, like it. I don't know if Biden will do it. I think he probably will because it's a good opportunity for him to steal credit from Donald Trump. Um, but if Donald Trump does win, or if he did win or whatever, definitely, definitely, I could see like the military handling the logistical stuff, the logistical part of it, like you know, uh, assisting with the manufacturing and the travel and making sure that it gets from point A to point B, because the military does have a sound um, distribution um, apparatus with planes, vehicles, all that stuff. They have the tools to make it happen and make it happen in a large scale form. Um, but
but I guess what the chat is asking though is, do you think the military is going to be going door to door and like forcing vaccines?
oh
I
no,
don't.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
I don't see it that way, folks. Me
Yeah,
personally.
yeah. I don't think it'll be. I don't think they'll be like going door to door, kicking doors down, and starting sticking people forcefully with needles and shit. But like, no, I think it'll be more of a logistical assistance, like with hospitals or pharmacies or whatever, like to make sure that the that the vaccine gets out, and it gets out to people that need it, because there's a lot that goes into getting it out. You can't just like ship it out via FedEx or some shit like that. Like there's legit stuff that needs to happen, and to make it happen. And I think the military is one of the only few people the few organizations that have the apparatus to be able to make something like that happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
logistically, yes. Forcefully sticking people in the arm with it, no.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting, to me to see when this whole thing, like how effective the role actually is, too. You
I,
know?
f- I do feel like because I know uh Okie Dean was saying if the military vaxes everyone, then we can all revote fairly. Like I mean, the in a perfect world, we should have another election. Like really, if we had, if in a perfect world, like because shit was so fucking disastrous, like we should probably have another election. But um, we are where we are, you know.
I mean, as I said last night on Versa, I started this podcast, during Obama's first election back in 2008. So like I'm fucking sticking around. I'm sticking around, doing my thing, come hell or high water, and if Biden does become president, which he most likely will at this point, I'm gonna fucking have a ball with it, and like criticize him and do what I did during the Obama era, and we're gonna have fun with it, for as long as we can, um, but at the same time, um, you know, when they even when they censor us and shut us down, I'll be I'll be ready for the war if it comes to that. I hope it doesn't, but yeah.
Mm, indeed, indeed.
um let's see. God, there's a lot of other stuff I want to ask you. I mean, you're also famous for telling like really crazy stories about your time in the military, which is
Yeah.
always which is always
Well,
great.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like there's just like crazy stories about like, and I got crazy friends too, and
Yep, you're hanging
like
out.
I said,
You're hanging out with one of them for sure. So
yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I've hung out, I've got a couple of them, but like I said one story and then it just kind of like, kind of caught like wildfire, I guess, and um. What can I say? I've lived a fucking crazy, crazy fucking life. I don't know. I don't know what to
yeah.
tell you, man.
Well, I think the thing that's also interesting, you brought this up on Versa last night, and I hadn't considered this, but none of us, or maybe it was Sean that brought it up, but none of us on Versa or on Next Gen Conservative, none of us are poli sci majors, you know, at all. Like politics is mainly a hobby, for me. Um, I'm kind of semi trying to monetize it, but I'm also trying to kind of comedic aside
Well,
as well.
what we felt like I know what Sean, myself, and Alex were feeling like was the biggest problem with politics is that it's a career. Like
Yes,
that, it's legitimately a career. Um, instead of a public service. Like politics is supposed to be a public service. And it's like this big bloated uh career with uh insane benefits, insane retirement. Like it's not like if I don't know if it was ever like I don't think I've ever lived long enough to know if it was ever actually a public service, but we need to get it to that if we want to still be the strong country that we are. And because you just can't like it's the gobs of money that they fucking spend and raise and all that stuff. It's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. And like I despise there a lot of the times I despise poli sci majors. And
Yeah, I despise I despise poli sci majors as well. But well, with the exception of my one friend who I've grown up with, but he I've also kind of red pilled him a bit on some of this stuff, so he hasn't completely bought into his professor's BS. Um, I also hate sociology majors though. Those people are the fucking worst.
yeah, we are kindred spirits in that regard.
Uh,
The sociology is the fucking worst. It's poison. I feel like it's poison.
what
Like it's poison to a society.
what I here's what I real want to know is how the fuck did you end up going to Penn State and not blowing your brains out halfway through? Because you're like me, you're a guy who likes to tell crass jokes and talk up tits and ass and just be a
I
general degenerate, and Penn State kind of seems like a yuppie school to me. So how do you
Yeah. I
how
mean, if you care, then it will fucking eat you alive. Like I just like I've been through some of the most horrible shit in my life, so this is like a fucking pipe dream for me. Like being around a bunch of these spoiled ass yuppies is like a fucking pipe dream compared to all that fucked up shit. And like,
Oh, I'm sure, but
yeah,
but still, it must annoy you when you I know it annoyed me when I was on campus, at least when I would hear sorority chicks talking about, oh my God, what's the latest Starbucks flavor? Or what's the latest Instagram filter? And meanwhile, like I'm here thinking at like the state of the world, and like whatnot. Like,
I was like, and I always say some crass joke. It's like, for you, it's the semen flavor, you fucking know. And then like,
oh, oh.
I'm like, it's like, why don't you, yeah, come on, man, you dirty ass thought. Don't you have some pipe to fucking choke down on?
You told us last night that you had a couple of them like try and hit on you, and you're like,
Yeah, no, I had one that I had. Well, I mean, I've had more than one during my stay there, but like I had one, and I'm like, I'm obviously fucking old. Like I'm obviously older, right? And so I'm like, and it's and this girl was like 19, 20, something along those lines. I'm like, yo, and like in Mississippi or Alabama, I'm probably old enough to be your fucking father, okay? Do you have daddy issues or some shit? Like, what the fuck?
the
And then she's like,
the
and then she's like, you're an asshole. I'm like, you're crazy. I don't know.
the answer is yes. By the way, they all
Yes.
they all they all have daddy issues.
Yeah.
I
Daddy never hugged me enough, so now I'm gonna strip and be a thought. Like, okay, all right, whatever.
yeah, daddy never loved me, so I'm going to use this wheelchair bound guy as a human dildo, or try to, at least. So
Yeah,
That
it's
that
like I'm gonna suck some stranger off to get in a sorority that like it's gonna house me. You know, I'm like,
yeah.
okay, good luck with that.
Sorority chicks are the worst. I mean, they're if if you want to have a boring conversation, try talking to a sorority chick about anything that like anything like history or anything. It's just you're not going anywhere. So
Mm. Okay, so real quick, so Jolly Rogers bilge water.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, Jolly's in my Discord, and you two should like hang out and chat with each other
yeah.
sometime.
He was asking what do I believe the natural conclusion of all politics is? Um, uh, I believe that history repeats itself in the political world.
J-
Always does.
just a
Always.
just a disclaimer too. Jolly is also the proud resident racist of the Whitfield report.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not even
uh,
kidding. He brags
well,
he brags about it. So
I feel like I look at I look at like the Roman Empire, right? Roman Empire historically speaking. And one of the reasons that they fell was because the Senate got overly bloated and overly, it got big, it got bloated. There was lots of corruption um, within that Senate, and it became too big for its britches, right? And so I look at what's happening here, and I see a lot of parallels. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money exchanging hands, whether it's campaign financing, lobbyists, fucking outrageous pay, with retirement benefits that are like better than any fucking American. Um, I look at that and I'm like, dude, this is parallel to like the Roman dynasty. And the Roman dynasty was a badass fucking dynasty. And I'm like, what makes us so fucking special that we don't, head toward that same conclusion?
I
I keep
mean,
asking.
the Roman Empire lasted for 2,000 years. We're not even we're just barely at like we're just over the peak of 200 years, as republic, and we're already, you know, kind of falling apart. We're not gonna make it to 2,000 years. I guarantee you that. So
Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't think so either. And I mean, what has happened to us, like um we climbed faster than the Roman Empire. We've peaked as fast as the Roman Empire, and we're starting to kind of fall. Like our peaks and valleys are a lot shorter than obviously than that of the Roman
here,
Empire. Like,
here's the interesting thing though, and this is the one part that gives me optimism. Is I feel like the vast majority of the people that I know of, right, in my daily life, think a lot like you and I do, right?
mhm.
They have they have common they have common sense. They're pretty smart. They're pretty reasonable. But it's really these blue checkmark yuppies on Twitter and Facebook and social media. Basically, they're in the fucking minority, but because they have a fucking bullhorn, right? They're the ones who have the biggest, voices. That's why this whole thing with like Ellen Page. Oh, I'm gonna become a fucking tranny man now because it's fucking trendy. Like 10 years ago, you know, like no one gave a fuck if you were a tranny and shit like that. Like degeneracy was not like a thing as much back then. But
Yeah.
it's just because like the fucking minority voice is just screaming that shit, and and the power structure is just like bending to it. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're what we're experiencing now is decades of information warfare. Like we're on the wrong end of decades of information warfare from like China, Russia, Iran, the usual suspects.
oh yeah,
Um
don't get me started on China.
yeah. I mean, well, look, we're talking about years and years of just like them them dividing us with you know with information warfare, like i I mean, like China, like when China says it though, they look like hypocrites, like, oh, like they're the ones that were pushing they were the ones that were really pushing the whole slavery stuff, like the slavery and the racial injustice stuff or whatever, which is hypocritical on their part because like look how like they have more slaves in that country than we have people in this country. Like they have they're talking about, oh well, like they to me China is the modern day Nazi Germany.
Oh
They
yeah,
are,
totally.
yeah. Like they're using hundreds of millions of slaves to like build up their economy, which is kind of fraudulent in itself because a lot of it is like currency manipulation and you know
Well,
and
have you?
predatory
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
finance.
ahead.
But yeah, it's like the legit what they're doing to the Uyghur Muslims is exactly what the fuck the Nazis did to the Jews. It's
Yeah,
exact same shit.
totally. So, have I told you my Alex Jones like tinfoil hat conspiracy with China and COVID?
Mm.
Yeah.
No, what
Okay, so I've kind of talked about this on the show before, but I find it extremely telling that last year in 2019, right? In 2019, uh, President Trump gets an intelligence briefing about the Uyghur death camps in China.
mm-hmm.
Basically, he then basically like along with a few other countries, like I think the UK was one of them with Boris Johnson and a few of other allies. Basically, and the media did not fucking cover this at all. But he basically decried what China was doing as a human rights violation and basically said, "Look, America's not gonna fucking stand for this, right?" So we basically, so Trump basically put some more tariffs, which really fucked over China, like really, like really fucked their trade with the U.S. and everything. They were not fucking happy, right? Roughly three, roughly 3 months later, then by my count, guess what appears in the U.S.?
The Rona.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, again, I'm pretty sure the stream is going to get, taken down or something. But at this point, I don't care because, you know, I mean, it is COVID basically is a bioweapon by the Chinese. I'm just gonna fucking say it. And, you know, so we have that. And it's all because of the whole Uyghur death camp thing. So that's my Alex Jones slash Glenn Beck conspiracy with Rona.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. I definitely, yeah, I think that I kind of agree. I'm leaning toward that it's more that is a bio. I mean, I was leaning toward the bioweapon theory, like when it first came out. I'm like, why the fuck didn't we mention this at all or whatever? And it's like, well, because we're financially tied to China and a lot of things in this country. So
Yeah. Three Elves says loves capitalism, but something needs to happen with these tech giant. I mean, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we've all been saying that for years, especially with YouTube and like big social. But at this point, Olives, I hate to say it, but I don't see anything happening other
yeah,
than Ted Cruz having more, grandiose speeches about, tech censorship in Congress. But they're not gonna fucking do anything about it. Otherwise, they would have by now, I feel like.
yeah. I I feel like yeah, and I was telling and I was saying this on the Versa show yesterday that the one gripe that I have, the one and only gripe that I have with the Trump administration is the is that they took down the net neutrality and there wasn't anything really to replace it with. Because there was some good like with all with like the whole net neutrality thing, the open internet thing, um there was some good stuff and then there was some bad stuff tied into it. Like most legislation anytime over the last in the last few decades at least, there's always some sort of there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff, and then there's stuff that is in these bills that are completely unrelated to the main topics at hand. Um, like I felt like calling the internet a utility was I always felt like that was actually a good thing. Like
Yeah,
uh, because forced it forced tech companies to comply with the Constitution, right? In that regard, and but it was tied with a lot of other stuff like throttling and but I think from a business as far as an internet service providing standpoint, when it comes to like data and all that stuff, I think businesses should kind of be able to do what they want, but within reason. But at the same time, it's like, well, I think there should be. I think the internet is a utility. I believe in my heart of hearts, I think it's a utility because like without it, nothing exists today.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. As do I. And let's face it, like or not, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube basically are the public fucking square
yeah, absolutely.
at this point, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
Eh,
I mean, you can't go. I mean, no one really gathers in the town square anymore because there literally isn't one in most places anymore.
yeah, we're and part of it, I mean, part of this whole thing is we are we're experiencing financial shifts in like the world economy stage where China is having a stronger financial imprint as far as the world goes, which is it's 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 mostly bullshit because one, they're taking advantage of slave labor, and two, they're manipulating their own economy, but it's afforded them the opportunity to make really predatory purchases all over the world and unfair trade deals and all that craziness. But that's seeped its way into big tech too. Yeah, and
Oh, right.
so we have that's going to be a problem that has to be addressed either before or at the same time that we're dealing with big tech.
Well, I mean, the fact that big tech is now like literally telling you what you can and cannot tweet, like even like censoring your fucking retweets, like that is some wacko shit.
Yeah, that's Chinese-esque shit. That's what they do in China. They censor shit in China. Hey, that's what they do over there. And they're starting to adopt shit. I mean, the big tech is adopting a lot of the same shit that China does. Like they throttle shit, they censor stuff, they shut shit down. It's and like because there's so much business that these tech companies and the entertainment industry and the manufacturing industry, like every manufacturing does business in China, and the problem is when you do business in China, there's strings to that. Like, there's no such thing as a private Chinese business. Like, there's no such thing as that. Like, the Chinese government can fucking sweep anything and kill anything that it wants to,
Oh yeah.
and that's the element that these companies either didn't foresee or really didn't give a shit about. Probably a little bit of both, but
Uh,
um
Warfus wants to know if you've ever been to China, which I don't know. I know you've
no,
been,
I don't have the balls to go to China.
I know you
I'm sorry.
I know you've been to Thailand, but
I've been to a whole lot of Asia, but yeah, China's probably not one of them.
you had some crazy stories about Thailand that you were.
Thailand's fucking nuts, man. Thailand is fucking nuts. I always said that's like the Las Vegas of the world. Like that's the sin. Bangkok and Pattaya are like the sin cities of the world
Really,
because like everything.
I've heard that about fucking I've always heard that about Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam. Oh, I mean, Amsterdam is very um has its regulations though. Like, yeah, prostitution's legal, but it's like regulated. Yeah, marijuana's legal, but it's regulated. Like there's a lot of regulation going on. With Bangkok and Pattaya, there's a lot of lawlessness that goes on over there. Like it's not really like, there's a lot of corruption is just rampant over there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of just weird shit over there. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, there's a lot of weird shit in Amsterdam too. I've been to Amsterdam too. There's a lot of weird shit over there too. Um, and anybody who goes to Amsterdam, if you start seeing blue lights, fucking go the other way because because the red light district. That's like where all the
Oh yeah,
prostitutes
oh
are at
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
The blue lights are the disgusting shit, like the he she's and the fucking children and all that craziness. So just
Oh fuck.
get the fuck out of the blue light areas.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. That seems weird. I have to think though that COVID has put a fucking dent in all that stuff. Then again maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Thailand. Yeah. $3 it says, is it Thailand that has a death sentence for? There's a. I don't know if
N-
there's a death sentence, but
No,
trust me.
uh that's it's not Thailand that has I know that Malaysia has like a have
Yeah.
you can get arrested in Malaysia for like
Yeah.
littering.
You don't want to end up in a Thai prison because that's you're basically cleaning up. Like you're like those Thailand prisons are fucking rough. Like it's like I we hung out with somebody that spent like, I want to say he spent like 10 years in a Thai
Yeah,
prison for
yeah,
something.
Singapore,
Like
Jolly.
yeah,
It's Singapore where you can get arrested
yeah.
for littering.
But like those Thai prisons are like you're basically cleaning up your own shit with your hands or whatever because there's no place to put it, or like it's a mess. It's just a fucking mess. Let's see. I was just looking at some of these people are commenting on here are fucking hilarious, by the way.
Well, thank you. I'd like to think I have one of the most hilarious audiences in podcasting. So,
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying. I'm enjoying these comments.
I mean, look, I'd almost, I wanted to kind of save this for off the air, but I mean, if you'd be willing, I'd kind of maybe like to make this a regular thing or at least semi. I know that you're already co-hosting Versa, so I don't want to I don't want to steal you away from Sean and Phil.
we already do kind of do shit on the weekends. Like it really is kind of like a co-joined kind of thing on the weekends anyway. So I mean, yeah, just yeah. I mean, you already know. Like, look, we like we've been friends for a long time. If you ever want me to come on your show or vice versa, like just yeah, you already know the deal.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and yeah, Fat Keg Boy is right. Donate to my Streamlabs or your Kami Pinko or Pinko Kami. However that goes. So, um,
Mm.
but yeah, let's see.
Donate to his stuff because like because I've seen it, man. Sam puts a lot of work into this. There's a lot of work that he puts into this, and he's made something of himself. Yeah, he the work that he does and the service that he provides. It's um it's amazing, but it ain't, you know, I don't want to say it ain't cheap, but it's not like, you know, it's not cheap. Like, you makes a lot you make a lot of sacrifices, Sam, and like, the least somebody can do is throw something, you
Well,
know.
I mean, listen. As my mom recently pointed out, I put more work into this than I do my dating life. But you know that's also partially because, like I said, chicks are crazy. So
Yeah, but you live in Florida, so that is actually true.
Yeah,
Florida chicks are crazy.
yeah, that is. There aren't enough redheads here for my liking.
Dude, a redhead in Florida, run for the fucking hills. Holy God. Because redheads are already crazy, and then you got a redhead from Florida. Oh my God. Run
So
for your life.
so but again, what's the problem with redheads?
You're crazy. You're
And
batshit crazy. Yeah, no, it's all fun and games until you're stuck in a relationship with one of them.
are you
They're crazy in bed. Look, you're crazy in bed, and that's fantastic. But like, yeah, eventually you have to actually interact with them beyond the freaking bedroom, and then that's when they get you.
are you speaking from experience here?
I've literally, yeah, I've had a sex life that I'm not too terribly, um, I don't want to say not proud of, but yeah, I've had my fair
Well,
share of
w-
bad stories there.
well,
So
well, Jolly is not too far behind you there. So, um, I mean, I will say this. I did meet a Playboy playmate once.
there you
So,
go. That's
um,
right.
what one of my favorite playmate did end up going on the QAnon LARP though. So
Mm.
as much as I hate QAnon,
No,
I
that's
might.
when you know. Honestly, though, Sam, that's when you know you did a good job in the bedroom. That's when you know you did a good job. Look, if you
I might have to trust them. I might have to trust the plan.
right, so if you're with the chick and she's like cool when you originally hang out with her, and then as soon as you give her the pipe, like she starts going batshit crazy. That's when you know you're really good at the pipe, right?
That that's
That's how it works.
that's happened. I I had a chick. I knew a chick back in high school who I told her that I was moving to Florida after we graduated, and she legit did not believe me. And then I moved, and she got super pissed because she thought I was joking, even though I was dead serious. Like, I don't know. Maybe she was just. Then again, she was blonde, so maybe she really was a dumb blonde. I don't know. So,
Yeah, yeah. You know when when uh when the majestic chariot rejects you, it's over. It's over.
what you mean when the cyborg rejects you as Apex
Yeah.
calls it. So
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a different name. He calls it the cyborg. I go the majestic chariot.
I
That's my name.
I like your name better. So
Like yeah, like oh, because she's like, oh, I got turned down by a guy in a wheelchair. It's time to go. Like, yep, it's time to go.
so
She needs
uh
counseling.
oh, who Warfist donated $1. I'm broke, but I got $1 to throw in your. Okay, I'm not that much of a whore. I'm not that much of a whore Warfist, but still I appreciate it. So
I want a lap dance. I want a lap dance. God damn it for that tip. No,
uh you
yeah,
you have some
let's see.
hilarious characters as well that you've done. So
Yeah, it's. Well, I used to like when I was little, when I was younger. Sorry, I used to do crank calls. Like I'd used to one of the ones I used to do is I used to call because we still had papers with classified ads and shit. Like we I used to um go to the apartment section and then I'd be like, so yes, for your apartment, so me and my boyfriend, we're moving in, we're looking for a place to stay. How are the sounds on the walls? Is the sounds like what? Because there's going to be a lot of noise. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be a lot of noise. I don't want it to be a mess. I don't want it to be completely crazy with the neighbors or whatever. But yes, we do kind of have our fun. Is that going to be a problem? And they usually, some of them hang up, some of them are like, and some of them you just get like dead silence. It's fucking hilarious. And one time I did that and I got one of the most hateful responses ever. Like, oh, there's no way I'm lending my apartment to a bunch of fucking faggots. I'm like, oh shit. All right.
One of the funniest things I've ever done is a few years ago I got totally shit faced for New Year's for New Year's Eve slash day, and I came back home. And I mean, I wasn't even thinking. I was just smashed. For some reason, though, I got this crazy idea to like call all of my exes and like profess that I still
Oh,
had.
you drunk dialed. Oh God.
But I did it as a fucking prank. So so then like next morning, I was fully aware of what I had done, and I got a few calls, and I'm like, yeah, no, I was shit faced. I didn't mean any of that. But thanks for calling me back at least. See you never. So
No, I would call and I would call if uh, I would call a girl and I would call her some other chick's name. But I'd be drunk. I'd be drunk when I do it. I like and I knew and I obviously I knew that like I'd call Heather and I'd call her Teresa. Like, look, Teresa, you gotta listen to me. I've never stopped thinking about you. I swear to God, I never stopped thinking about you. And you're the one. Okay? You know? I know it's weird because you're black or whatever, but it's like crazy. I just can't stop thinking about you. She's like, I'm Heather, you asshole. I'm like, no, it's okay, Teresa. Okay? I get it, you're angry. And then like it'd be just it'd be crazy.
uh,
Um yeah, and then she's like and then I that's one way to piss her off because like the next morning you're like and that's when you get the responses the next morning. I don't know I don't know who the fuck that bitch was, but you better not ever call me again. Da 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 da. And like that's when you know you won. That's when you know you won. Like you ultimately pissed her off to the point where she like calls you out of nowhere. Like she takes time out of her day to call you to let you know how pissed off she is. That's when you know you won.
yeah, I mean I've had some crazy I've even had some crazy experiences on this podcast before. I figured out that you can't talk out your celebrity crushes without someone actually saying that they know that person and that they can you know connect you or something like that. So That's always interesting. So, let's see. Hey, Sean, I see you're in chat, so
What's up, Sean?
hope you don't mind. I'm stealing Phil from you. So,
It's nah, Sean. Sean's good people. He like he's one of the true Trump OGs.
oh yeah.
He's one of the true Trump OGs, and um, like most of us were like, it'd be cool if Trump won, but we didn't think that he would win. Like I know I was like, I don't. I mean, it'd be cool, and I'm gonna vote for him, obviously, but like, I don't think he. I thought it was a pipe dream that he could win. Like Sean was like, he's gonna win. Like he right out of the gate. Sean was like the guy. He's like, he's gonna win, and believed it, and it happened, and and it was just like he knew. Like it was just something like he knew, and he's got a very good sense of he's got his he's got his finger on the pulse uh that few people have when it comes to like you know like conservative. I don't want to say conservative politics, but definitely Trump politics.
I mean, yeah, Sean was Trump before I was Trump, and I'll admit that I was. See, I was never. I mean, I'm on the Trump train now, but I was more on the never Hillary train more
Yeah.
than anything. But Sean was Trump from day one, from what I can remember. So
Yeah. Um yeah, I think I was like you. I was like, dude, we can't there's no fucking way in hell we can have Hillary.
I let me put it this way: as painful as it would have been, I would have voted for Jeb! Exclamation point
Oh.
if it meant.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I was gonna
I
say
mean, I
vote for
mean, I mean,
Jeb. Fuck me in the ass. You would vote for Jeb? Fuck, man.
I mean, not like I said, not willingly, and not without like holding my nose, but if he even stood a chance of beating Hillary, which he wouldn't,
I
which he wouldn't have, but like let's say he somehow did, then yeah, I would have pulled it for him.
I felt like the one thing that really kind of like I the one thing that I will say though is like I did feel like he something was brewing with Trump. Like that I felt like when like in 2015 when he was like, when he was starting his campaign and it was like something was brewing that was bigger than your traditional campaign, like your traditional campaign. And it was like you had all these and my only big fear was that there was at that time there was like 15 other candidates or some shit like that. I thought that all of those candidates would take enough away from Trump to kind of sweep him away, but like it actually turned out to actually be a blessing in disguise because like I mean, he was clearly the best dude for the job. Like,
Well,
but that wasn't saying much because there was just terrible fucking candidates. Like,
what was funny was when the whole grab him by the pussy thing happened during the election. I was like, well, he's done. That's it. They got him. Like, I was like, it's fucking hilarious, but it's over. And then like, if anything, his support grew, and I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. That his
I saw seeing Jeb speak. I was like, if this guy is our fucking candidate, I'm probably voting third party. Like that was how bad Jeb Bush was. Like if he was if he was the Republican candidate, I'm like, dude, I'm voting. I don't give a shit who the third party person is. They're probably getting my vote.
My my favorite Jeb meme, and it's so fucking mean, but it's fucking hilarious. Is uh, it's a picture of Jeb at the podium, and
Yeah.
he's like they made it look like he's crying at the podium, and he's and the caption is look Dad, I'm finally running. Are you proud of me now?
That's funny. That
Uh,
is funny.
I mean, yeah.
But that's
Uh,
like, it was terrible. Like the um, and I was and we were I think we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, but like this is no longer. I mean, this is Trump's Republican Party now. Like it really is. As much as people want it, like want it to be the establishment Republican Party, those days are gone. Like those days of the people supporting the GOP like wholesale are fucking gone. Like
oh yeah.
George W. Bush actually ruined that part. Like because I'm not sure there. I don't know if there was a worse GOP president in history. If you're talking about GW, he ruined a lot. Like there was, that guy ruined, like, started 2 wars, lowered taxes, fucked up everything, like everything. Fucked up trade deals, sold off shit, fucking fucked up foreign policy, rate, like just ridiculous. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I think that how bad George W. Bush was the reason we got Barack Obama.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
believe
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt, that was the case. Without a doubt.
I mean, a
Um.
lot of he's the reason he's the reason that a lot of people were actually looking at Ron Paul. Like, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Ron Paul, but I'm like, look, um, this is probably not a presidential candidate, like a legitimate presidential candidate. Not that I don't like him, liked a lot of his policies and whatever, but like, but yeah, there was
Well.
no way that I was going to ever be able to take him seriously as a presidential candidate.
Well. So here's the thing that's interesting about Obama and Trump. Trump and Obama are similar, and hear me out because I know that some people are scratching their heads, but right, Obama fundamentally transformed the Democrat Party, right? The 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 Democrat Party we have now is the party of Barack Obama. Similarly, the Republican Party we have now is the party of Trump,
Um,
and there's no getting around that. So which I'm okay with, because
I don't know.
look, because like I said, there was no way that Mitt Romney was going to beat Obama, um, and the and the Obama Democrats. There just isn't.
I don't know. I felt a little different about Obama. Like I felt like I felt at least the first the first 4 years were actually a little bit more engaging from a bipartisan support because he had,
Well, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, he didn't pull out of the wars like he said he was going to do. He kept some Republicans in his administration. He um he was trying to engage Republicans, like when it came to like the Obamacare, which of course was like he sold it as something completely different than what it was. Like that's one of the reasons why I fucking hated it. But like um but
Well,
he was more engaging. And then the second term was like he went right back to the establishment Democrat model, and then just you know, stopped the interaction as far as that went.
I mean,
Um,
it's interesting that you say that he's establishment Democrat though, because he just drove. To me, Obama drove the Democrat Party more towards, like, he drove all the moderate Democrats out basically, and now because of Obama, now that's why we're getting the AOCs and the the Rashida Tlaibs and the whatever the chick
well, I
from
think he did.
Minnesota
I
is.
think he was harder. I think he was a lot more left wing in his first term, and then I think the second term he went more establishment. Like I felt like he went more establishment in the second term, like
Really?
establishment Democrat, where he was looking more toward post post Obama life. Like you know,
Yeah.
he was going in front of the camera a lot more. Was, he was interacting from like speech, like, because he had a lot of Wall Street backing with like, especially with a lot of the bailouts and all that shit. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I mean, like he knew he was that second term he was looking more. I felt like he was looking more toward taking care of himself, and that's um and of course that's what a lot of people said that's what gave us Trump, but no, but I disagree with that because Trump I mean he was just something bigger. He was just something bigger than that, than all of that. Like
Yeah. Uh oh yeah, thanks Major Victory. Ilhan Omar was who I was thinking of. I I can't remember her name because, to be honest, I don't really want to be
I
honest.
don't give a shit about her.
So, anyway, though, it is almost midnight, and I don't want this to become a 4 hour uh podcast,
Yeah.
even though that is what I am want to do usually on Saturday day nights, but since it is a week, since we're heading into the week, I suppose we could kind of at least start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Any topics or anything that you want to bring up that's on your mind, and anything that you want to ask me or talk to me
I
about?
can't I can't think of anything, but yeah, we can always do this again. Like I said, give like give donate to Sam donate to Sam's donate to Sam's fund, because yeah, he's legit, but he works hard at this, and you know he deserves some stuff,
The
and
Jolly says the people demand 8 hours of hate. Jolly, we'll have to do that during. We'll have to do that next week, probably sometime once I'm off and have more time to do that, and more beer. I'm clean out of beer, so um But
Yeah.
so you're doing periscopes now, huh?
Little, yeah. Every now and again, I'm trying to set up. I'm trying to make it more of a regular thing. A little short snippets, just to make it like a little bit more interactive, a little bit more, you know, I don't want to say engaging, but like, um, talk about stuff, but make it short enough to where people can kind of digest it. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
with some podcasts, 3 or 4 hours, that's a lot of fucking time. So,
Well, like
uh,
like I said, I try and do like a half hour podcast during the week usually, but
and Sean says, "What's your favorite color?" I see a red door and I want to paint it black.
nice reference. I do have a I have another question for you, which is what is
Oh
your
yeah.
favorite type of music? Just off the top of you strike me
No, I think I think I'm a mood listener. Mostly rock though. Mostly like the
same.
old school rock. But like, yeah, I'm like a mood listener though.
Yeah, me too,
I
basically.
got pissed off. I listened to a little bit of soul. A lot. Routinely I listen to a little bit of soul. But like with Sirius XM, they changed the Soul Town channel to like Holiday Soul, and I'm like, fuck
Uh
this.
I mean I like holiday music, but yeah, I feel like I like holiday music, but like Apple Music now, they've and same with Spotify, like everything is holiday music.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's weird. I don't know. So no Oki, I have not been in a Turkish prison, but I have visited Semper Reloaded place before, and that's kind of the same thing. So but anyway, Phil, where can we find you at on social?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Pluffy Phil is the screen name, one word, Pluffy Phil.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and why have we changed it to Fluffy again?
because Dictator Phil was a little too aggressive. One of my friends like, it's a little too aggressive. You should just like change it or something.
Nonsense.
And now I can't. Now I can't change it to Dictator Phil anymore because I tried and
Wait.
Twitter was like, it wouldn't let me. It didn't say it was already taken. It just wouldn't let me change it to Dictator Phil.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had the same Twitter account since like 2011. But the thing is I can't use at Sam Whitfield because some fucker in Britain has that, and they have logged in since 2009, and they only have 3 tweets, and yet like
I
so.
British fucking British. If you're rich and British, you've probably made love to a dude. That's that's my
I mean, I'm not gonna lie
consensus
though.
opinion.
I'm not gonna lie though. As far as like Brit models go, Lucy Pinder is pretty nice. So, Sean goes too aggressive. I call BS. Well, there you go, Sean. I've been saying that about Dictator Phil for a while. If anyone thinks that Dictator Phil is too aggressive, then if anyone thinks that Dictator Phil is too aggressive, they need to hang out with Jolly Rogers.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, Jolly
so
Rogers looks like he's quite the aggressive.
I mean, he's the fucking dread pirate of the of the Whitfield Report and of the Savage Zone.
Ooh. All
So,
right. Well, it's been a pleasure as always.
yeah, thanks for coming on, Phil.
Yeah.
I have one announcement, folks, that I would like to make, which is as you guys know, as I mentioned on Friday night, Dennis Miller is finally retiring from political podcasting, and I left a voicemail on his podcast. So hopefully you guys will hear that on on Tuesday. I think that's when the last episode premieres. So I'll post a link to that when it posts. So stay tuned for that. And then other than that, I'll be back next Friday for the Gamma Hug Box, and wish me luck on my final exam this week, and I'll talk at you folks down the road. So, Bill, any final words?
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for being on, guys and gals. Be safe and see you around.
All right, folks. As always, from everyone here at NGC Studios and on behalf of Dictator Phil and Versa Media, God bless, God save this great nation, God, freedom, legacy in that order, and I will see you on the next Whitfield Report. God bless, folks. Well, folks, with the Whitfield Report in its 5th season and me starting my 14th year of podcasting in 2021, I figured now would be as good time as any to start a Patreon page for the podcast. And I know everyone these days has a Patreon page who's a podcaster, but let me tell you what you're going to get if you decide to join the Whitfield Report Patreon. At the $1 level, you'll simply be contributing. That'll simply be a way of saying thank you, and I appreciate it. But that's that. However, at the $3 level on up, you're going to be getting access to an exclusive podcast that I'm hoping to do weekly, called the Savage Express podcast. And on that podcast, exclusive to Patreon subscribers and supporters, I'll be covering music and movies and pop culture and personally and anecdotes in ways that I can't cover on YouTube or traditional podcast platforms. I'm hoping to do this every week. I might not, but it'll certainly be a longer form podcast for those types of topics if you're interested in that sort of thing. And I also might be re-releasing some episodes of the Whitfield Analysis, my old podcast. Re-releasing the back catalog, as it were, digging out some old video clips that I've had in archive for years and posting all of that exclusively to the Patreon site for you guys. It's going to be a good time, and there are a couple of different tiers you can join in at. I understand if you can't join the Patreon, but if you're able to financially support the show and you want to help out, joining the Patreon would be the best way to do that. So I encourage you to go to patreon.com/Whitfield Report and sign up on one of the tiers today. And again, folks, I want to thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And hopefully, I can look forward to your financial contribution, which I deeply appreciate as well. God bless, folks, and Godspeed amongst thee in that order.